drives your business.
And for the very first, we would, our apologies to all the viewers for starting up this late. Quite some controversies that have been happening, but we are lucky that we've picked up from there. Welcome to the Prime Edition. My name is Jerome Paul Sonka. This is your daily report. A look at what we have for you in today's, because we are coming to you live from plot 42 Nile Avenue, that is opposite Garden City. And definitely we are here to make sure that we drive your business. And doing that, so let's get right into it. And kickstarting it off with our very first report, we start from the Public Finance Management Act, as the public have been advised to embrace all available chances in the oil and gas sector. The Public Finance Management Amendment Bill of 2021 is one of the three bills that Parliament did pass, proposed to facilitate oil and gas activities. In an interview with Smart 24 TV, Peter Molisa, Chief Legal and Corporate Affairs at the Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, insights on the agreements and obligations attached with the Uganda National Oil Company. Let's have the details here.
The Public Finance Management Act is quite broad. So it has elements to do with petroleum revenues, it has elements to do with the public accountability, it has elements to do with how you manage the consolidated fund. Public Finance Management Act that was enacted in 2015 through investing through the investment fund, investing in very secure assets that have a good rating. So that money will be delineated, put in a particular, put in investment, and that fund will grow. It will most likely sit in sovereign, in bonds, probably treasury bonds of highly rated countries. So that's one element. The second element is that Parliament can appropriate an amount from that fund to fund infrastructure development. So that's the only other reason. So when Parliament appropriates this money from the petroleum fund for infrastructure, it is drawn and put into the consolidated fund, but for only one purpose: infrastructure development. So they will be used, it will be used for road construction, for rail, for bridges, for things like that, infrastructure. And of course you can understand why. The idea is that if you build infrastructure, good infrastructure, you connect people, you enable people to be more productive, to transport their products to the market, and so you spur development. We have taken final investment decision in oil and gas. The opportunities are immense, and we encourage Ugandans to participate because the law favors you and gives you priority to participate in the sector. It's about $11 billion that are going to be spent in the next 4 years. Please, we encourage you to participate. We are here to support you. Come, disturb us if you have questions or issues, and we'll support you to ensure that you get work and that you deliver and participate in the projects and earn good money from the projects.
All right, now let's speak MV Kalangala. As being a business community, Kalangala receives a huge number of people, both local and international, using the Entebbe-Lutuka route as their convenient route, and most probably using the MV Kalangala. MV Kalangala vessel has taken longer than anticipated, thus delaying the vessel's annual mandatory servicing at the Port Bell in Luzira. Let's have the details of this report.
MV Kalangala has since February 25th been docked at Nachuogo Pier, undergoing mandatory servicing. This exercise was expected to last 1 month, according to Nation Oil Distributors, a firm that manages the vessel. However, there were some small hiccups that caused the delay for its return.
Survey and maintenance. We as national distributors had to also undertake the ferry through some small repairs just before we do the survey and maintenance. So the repairs took longer than we anticipated, and that is why we took long to return to the sailing, our daily operations. Speaking to the chairman of Nachuogo on a phone call, he indicates that many businesses in the area have not been operating very well since it's hard to transport goods.
MV Kalangala eri under maintenance baze omwezi mulamba Luzira okwongera ogitereza nebadde eri wano Nachuogo nga bajabirize ebirala ati okugenda okukola fayino gundi taaki kubidaabirizibwa ne bagitwala erizibwa. Tugispektinga mu budde nga 3-4 mu maaso ebeere ng'ekomawo etandika okola ebyo. Obuzi kibakusandika tebaba tebatambula mu bungi nnyo nga wali we banditambudde ku meeri. So kati waliwo amaato ge balina okukozesa ate nga bo amaato beeyi erina okuba nga ate yo nnenemuuko okusingako ku.
Some of the traders at the landing site have appealed to the government to create more routes for them as a means of easy transportation.
Government nti feri ene tuyamba eyamba omuntu wa wansi naate mu kaseera kano aka COVID batwala abantu batono nnyo ate nga lwe luguudo lwe tukozesa. Abantu abasinga lwe luguudo lwe tukozesa ne batutwala batono nnyo. Ebiseera ebisinga batuleka abagenda mu nnimiro abalina bizinensi zaabwe ati ne bakuleka ng'olina ekintu ky'ojja okutunda eno n'osanga nga bakasitoma bakoze eki nga bagenze. Kye mbadde nsaba batwongeremu batutambuze kuba lyekkubo lyokka eririwo eritusomosa ffenna balemenga kutulekawo ffenna batusobole ng'otutwala.
Ever since MV Kalangala suspended its operations, there has been no reliable transport means between Entebbe and Kalangala. He further reveals that the MV Kalangala will resume its operations tomorrow, 12th of April at 2 p.m. in Nachuogo.
Operations tomorrow on the 12th. We shall be resuming our operations from Nachuogo at 2 p.m. and the next morning we shall resume the usual of traveling from Lutoboka in the morning at 8 a.m. and then returning to Kalangala at 2 p.m. from Entebbe. Yeah.
Businesses in Kalangala have gone down by 50% in the past 1 month as a result of the absence of MV Kalangala. On behalf of both parties involved in this service maintenance, Hakim apologized for the delay and losses encountered by the business community.
Ministry of Works and Transport and the management of National Oil Distributors, I would like to apologize to the general public for the delay, but it wasn't also for our own making. There were technical issues we had to work with, first in Nachuogo, then we had to go to the dry dock in Port Bell. So we are very sorry for any inconveniences and losses caused during that period.
Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24, Prime Edition.
All right, now, thanks, Naomi Mutumba. Now, we head to the other details. Now, this one is regarding the Uganda's exports to South Sudan that have hit a record high. Now, Uganda has shown steady progress in the exportation of its goods to our northern neighbors in the Republic of South Sudan by a margin of 21%. The details.
According to the recently released report by the Bank of Uganda, Uganda's exports to South Sudan have earned $50.62 million, which was an increase by 27.39% from $39.74 million.
January we had $39.74 million, and February we had $50.62. This is a growth of about 27.4%.
4 years ago, this was Uganda's performance in her exports to South Sudan.
Now, with specific reference to South Sudan, you'll realize that for the last 5 years, that is from 2018 to 2022, Uganda's exports for the period January and February for all these 5 years, there's a certain trend that has been taken. But you note that from 2018 January compared to January 2022, exports has grown by about 20.1%. Now, when you compare February, same period, that is February 2018 and February 2022, exports have actually grown by 63.1%. But what is also interesting to note is that for the last 5 years, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, if you look at the performance of the 2 months, you note that in January 2018, vis-a-vis Feb 2018, there was a decline. The following year, which was 2019, there was a growth from 34.14 to 36.7, and this was the growth of about 7.5%. If you look at 2021, January, we exported a slightly lower figure. We exported $28.66 million, and in February we exported 39.61. That gave an increment of about 38.2%. Now that would mean that in that year we had a very high growth for the two, comparing the 2 months.
Furthermore, he elaborated on what has contributed to the progress.
Foremost, you realize that we have just come out of the COVID lockdown, although we are still running with COVID. There is a very good movement in terms of our exports to South Sudan. And this is simply because people have come to terms with the reality, although there are still challenges, the issue of security and the rest, but people have come to terms with the reality. People must eat. And for them to eat, obviously, Uganda is a very key supplier.
The chairperson of Kasita Uganda also shares his opinion about what has led to the growth of Uganda's exports to South Sudan.
It's true that as Kasita have been engaged with the Minister of Finance, and our members were affected by the conflict in South Sudan because they lost a lot of money. And then the bigger companies reached an agreement with the Minister of Finance to see how the compensation can proceed. Things have been able to modify with to improve the way the methods used in transactions by applying guarantors and even cash deposits and LPOs to make sure that they are safeguarded with the payment. On the condition the goods have been delivered, it's a sure deal that someone is going to be paid. And even the payments are now more effective, but because these bigger companies...
Monica Nabyonga, Smart 24, Prime News.
All right, now let's speak dormant bank accounts. Have you ever had a dormant bank account, or do you have one? And why do you have it? Why have you stopped using banks for depositing and withdrawing your money? A very big question to ask, isn't it? Now, on our next story here, we'll take a look at Jonah Waiswa, the head of public education at the Bank of Uganda, who has highlighted a couple of reasons which have led to the increase of inactive bank accounts in Uganda today.
Speaking to Smart24, Jonah Waiswa attributes the existence of dormant accounts to death, accidents and traveling. He calls upon people to officially close their accounts whenever they feel like or can't use them anymore.
Accounts usually occur in situations where people either forget their accounts that they are there, and that's usually because there are no funds on the account. The accounts are not funded. So they, instead of going to close the accounts, they decide just to abandon them. So they become dormant. 2, some people can die without the bank being notified. For example, people die in accidents, people die in their houses, even in hospitals. But people like keeping their accounts secret, which is okay for separate funds. But when these people die, someone should be able to notice the bank that this person has died so that they close the account. But they don't notify the bank, so those kinds of accounts also remain dormant. The third aspect is that some people travel either for study or in Oman, those countries, Saudi Arabia. So they leave their accounts here, especially if they're not funded, they remain dormant. And you know how many people are moving now outside for Cheyo? There are many. So they leave them unfunded. Also to tell the public that officially you can close your account. It's allowed and it's in the rules of Bank of Uganda. You go to your bank and you fill in a form and you officially close your account. That account will not be idle. Why are we concerned? When you leave your account dormant and closed, the people who have ill motives can use that account to do what they want to do. And for us as a bank and the government and the state, they will look for you because the details are yours. So we want to prohibit money laundering, but also internal fraud, where someone can use, especially if there is money, someone can use that account and tap into your funds, and eventually you come and complain that they have taken my funds.
Many a time solutions have been sought on how to reduce the number of these accounts. Jonah advises the public to make as many small transactions as they can so as to keep their accounts active.
Money in your account, don't allow it to take 2 years. When it takes 2 years, it becomes an inactive account, and that means you will not be allowed to get money from your account or withdraw from that account if you don't make it active. So simply do things periodically, either after 1 month or 2 months, make a deposit, however small it is, or make a withdrawal, however small it is, it will keep active. If you don't, it's something with mobile money. You take 9 months, you've not done anything there, it becomes dormant. What do? At least receive money through that account. At least tell a colleague, at least when you receive money, push it through there, then withdraw it immediately. You've done an account there, an activity, it will not be dormant. So that's what I need to tell people. There's no way an account can go dormant.
However, there has continued to be claims that bank charges have turned out unaffordable for the people, which Jonah disagrees with.
Most saving accounts are not even charged. They are not even charged so much. So I don't think there are charges. Even if there are charges, when you go to open up an account, they give you what we call the key facts document. It's just a one-page document, one paper. That paper should tell you what are the risks in the account, how do you close that account, how do you open an account, what are the charges on that account. So if you see that you can't afford those charges, then don't open that account. Go for an account which has no charges on the account. And they are there, purely savings accounts. I am sure every bank has such an account for low savers where you can save your account, your money without being charged.
Continuously, banks in Uganda, like other places, publish dormant account lists in the newspapers for owners to act on them. Most banks classify savings, current accounts, and other types of deposit accounts as dormant, where those accounts have no activity other than transactions initiated by the bank, such as interest and charges after a specified period of time.
All right, now away from that particular report, let's get going with sports this evening as we take our eyes to the Uganda Premier League. The Uganda Premier League returns tomorrow with 3 matches, and one of the key matches that will happen will be in Ndeje, as Uganda Revenue Authority will be hosting Vipers. And it will return tomorrow with 3 matches. A cracker between Vipers and URA. The match will be played in Ndeje, the home of the revenue collectors. The table leaders Vipers will make a trip to Ndeje to face the tax collectors, who sit third on the log in the first leg that was held in Chitende last year. When URA definitely pushed them to 46 points. Vipers table the league with 52 points as the Vipers make a trip to Ndeje, where they normally face a hard time in most of their scenarios that they've actually, and their last visit to Ndeje ended in defeat. So now the stage is set for Robert Oliveira's men to defy the odds, as the other matches to be played tomorrow will see Police FC travel to Mbarara to face Mbarara FC, as Ginger SS will play host to UPDF in Ginger. And in today's encounter that happened in the Uganda Premier League between Kampala City Council Authority FC and Arua Hill FC, the match ended 0-0 at the Philip Omondi Stadium in Lugogo. Oh, well, that brings us to the end of our discussions to do with the Prime Edition. Tomorrow morning, do cut me up in the morning with Rita Cabanyoro with Smart Means Business. We'll be discussing the Kameza money, and also we shall be looking at the oil and gas sector. Bigger topics for the entire day, and believe me, you will definitely want to have that for your day. And it has actually been a very huge topic across the country. I don't know how much you leave for your wife at home when it comes to the Kameza money, and I don't know whether it is mandatory for them to receive a fixed amount of money, or it depends on the type, or it depends on the amount the husband wishes to give to the lady or to the woman at home. All right, follow me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Joram Paul Sunko. We were coming to you live from plot 42 Nile Avenue, opposite Garden City. Follow us on Facebook, Smart24 TV Official. Twitter is Smart24 TV, and we have a poll question there as well. It's on Twitter asking, what is your take on the Kameza money? And we shall definitely be sharing your feedback in our programming as well as in our news here on the Prime Edition. Better yet, follow us up on Instagram and Smart24 TV for more of what we do here in regards to business matters, and also YouTube. Smart24 TV Live. Hit the subscription button. Am I forgetting something? The website is www.smart24tv.com. From the entire production, the entire newsroom, and the editorial team, good night till tomorrow.